wrong with that at this point. I'm your host, Gus Cousins, feeling quite a bit under the weather today, along with my co-host, Ben Jordan, and my other co-host, Smokey Graham, the administrator, who will join us for the baseball segment of the show, which will be far off in the distant future, but we'll get to it eventually. Begin with the big news. The Super Bowl happened, which feels like quite a long time ago.
Feels like years ago.
Ridiculous. Like, I was typing it up and typing up the notes, and I'm like, I'm amazed we haven't talked about this, but I guess we haven't because last we did it was Saturday, and then the Super Bowl happened on Sunday. So whatever, I guess. The Chiefs, as you all know by now, won 31-20 over the 49ers. 49ers blew a 20-10 lead heading into the fourth quarter. I thought it was Patrick Mahomes got MVP. I thought that was a bit of a joke, but other than that...
Yeah, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns.
Well, no, he didn't. He threw 2 touchdowns and
he
2
did
interceptions.
2-2?
Yeah.
Oh.
But he
I thought
wasn't,
it was 2-1.
No, he wasn't great. But the Chiefs win. Kelsey wins. Mahomes wins. Everyone went nuts.
Damian Williams.
Damian Williams went off the ex-Miami Dolphins, so I feel good about that. It was a little boring heading into halftime because it was only 10-10, but it wasn't, I would say, an overly terrible 10-10 game. It was low scoring, but there was a lot of stuff going on. Garoppolo and Mahomes both threw interceptions in the game, which was kind of weird. They actually got Garoppolo to throw the ball this game, which I thought was entertaining at the very least for San Francisco fans. Maybe not in a good way.
Didn't end well, yeah.
No, it didn't end well, but you at least got him to do it. Mahomes ran around a little bit. As I said, the 49ers were up 20-10 with 10 minutes left, and then the Chiefs just turned it on, probably sparked by that amazing halftime show and gave them a bunch of energy. So the Chiefs won, did their parade. A bunch of stuff happened there as well. Guys running into poles, guys getting into police chases.
Yeah.
The whole thing went off the rails. A lot of people showed up in Kansas City. Tons of people showed up. But, so the game itself was good. The 49ers couldn't establish the run game with Raheem Mostert, which I thought would have, as I said before, was the big if in that game.
Yeah.
If they could get that going, they would just run away with the game, and they just couldn't do it, obviously, because it was such a low-scoring game heading into halftime. But other than that, it's weird now, because as I said last week, the season's now done. And so
there's no football.
7 months or whatever. Well, there's the XFL that starts today at 2 Eastern. So go watch that. I know I'll be watching that. But I'll give one game a shot, and if it's a big a joke, I will never watch it again. But hopefully they get something going. But it feels weird to have no real football for quite a long time, because now everybody's just doing mock drafts and stuff all the way up to the actual draft
fantasy,
in Las Vegas, and who's picking who and who's going where. And like the most recent news with I don't know if you saw this, the platform they're doing the draft on is like,
they're bringing people in on boats or something.
They're bringing them
right?
on a boat onto a platform in the middle. It's like, that's all nice and well.
It's gonna take forever.
Well, yeah, it'll look cool, but it's all fun and games until Detroit picks someone in the first round and then they just drown themselves on the spot, because that's a mess. So it's like, it looks cool and it's in Vegas. I guarantee it. There's going to be something that happens and somebody's draft stock is just going to plummet because there's going to be like a video of them doing something like bad or whatever.
Well,
Vegas,
something always happens in
before,
Vegas, right?
Yeah, it was however many, I forget who it was, however many years ago. It was like a D lineman that Miami took, and he was like a top draft pick, and then they came out and like a relative posted online a video of him like smoking pot or something, and he went from the 5 spot to I think the beginning of the 2nd round or something. Like, it's just ridiculous. But so that'll be 7 months or however many months it is from now. No, it's 7 months till games start again, but I don't know, when's the draft? April? Something like that.
Yeah.
Or April, May. But yeah, there's already movement. Like the Dolphins, that was the latest news. They're trying to trade up to the 3rd pick instead of the 5th pick because of Tua and all that. And even though there's a bunch of other things, like everyone knows Joe Burrow's going 1st overall. Nobody needs
Bengals.
to the Bengals. Nobody really needs to even discuss that. But everything else is still up for grabs. There's going to be a ton of movement, I would imagine, before the draft actually happens.
Like trading around.
The Chargers, I would imagine, trade up to try and get a quarterback like Herbert or someone like that. I'd imagine, actually, the Dolphins probably would go from the 5 slot to the 3 slot just because they love Tua that much, and Chris Greer is just he's so far on board with that way of thinking. I imagine that would take place. A couple other teams Like, the Giants, who everyone seems to think they have their quarterback problem solved with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But some others think, well, no, you probably want to grab another guy too. It's just a big mess. And but it'll soften out by the time the draft actually comes around. But yeah, it's weird because now it's such a lull in the NFL now. Like the Monday after,
It's like you go from an 100 to like a 10.
Unless you're the Chiefs
from the Super Bowl.
Everyone's just a little disappointed now because like that drop off that Monday, it's like, oh, the Super Bowl just happened, it's great, but what are we supposed to talk about now?
Yeah,
for the
well,
NFL?
that's the thing with like the one game, like playoffs that's supposed to like series and all that. It's sort of, instead of winding down, it's just abrupt.
It's just
done.
abrupt, and there's no other way to do it. We're not saying
Yeah.
there is, but it's just for a fan or for people who talk about it, it's just weird because now you're just diving into every little detail that you can talk about and find like online or whatever as an analytic, and just keep going with that because there's not a whole lot to actually talk about. There were a couple relatively minor transactions in the grand scheme of things. Vernon Davis announced his retirement. He was a longtime Washington Football Club tight end. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Great career. He's 35 now. He had just a wonderful career, and he's calling it quits. Eric Weddle also announced his retirement. He was also 35 as a safety. He played 13 seasons. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He played much of his time in San Diego, and then he ended his career in LA with 1 year in Baltimore right in the middle. Another great player. I imagine both these guys probably... Vernon Davis, I think, will be getting into the Hall of Fame for sure. Eric Weddle, looking at his stats, I would imagine he'd get in there too eventually. But yeah, again, it'll be weird kind of not seeing those names around in the league anymore. But, it's weird every year that goes by. Nobody really thinks about it, but it's just, like, that much closer to retirement for all these well-known guys. Like, Adrian Peterson, has he retired yet? I don't know if he has.
I'm not sure.
I imagine he probably, if he hasn't yet, will. And Larry Fitzgerald is coming up down the road, like in the next couple of years, I'd say. So it's just a lot of these big-name guys, or formerly big-name guys that are calling
we're just
quits.
starting tailing off now.
Yeah, and there's the whole Antonio Brown thing. We haven't actually mentioned Antonio Brown for like the last couple of weeks, which I think has been great. But he recently, we didn't talk about it last week, but he did an interview with some NFL person, sat down actually on camera and had, answered questions about what was going on in his life. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish it never happened. Blah, blah, blah. I apologize to the NFL. And then that's tailed off as well. So like the joke of the league, Antonio Brown, who like, even in the midst of playoff football, that was the one other thing we could talk about. And now that's done and nothing's happening there. So it's weird to not hear about these things.
I don't know. You'd think like he's so good, like he'll have another chance maybe.
No, I hope not. I
he's
really
done
hope
so
not.
much. Sorries don't even matter at this point. Whether he says, I want to apologize to my family. I want to apologize to the NFL. Like, it doesn't even mean anything really anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, and he's... I'm not going to get into it, and I'm no genius, and neither are you, but it's, go get help, whatever that help is, and then deal with it. But it was, because at the beginning, it was just funny, right? His stupidity was funny. Sending bags of dicks to, like, cops, reporters, the NFL, and, like, his teammates, like, it was ridiculous. But then it kind of went off the rails, and, I'm assuming that story will pick up again somewhere down the line.
Surely.
In other news, the Browns hired Joe Woods as their new defensive coordinator. He was the DB coach on the 49ers last year. In the 17-18 year, he was the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, and he also spent 8 years in Minnesota prior to that. So he comes with a good resume. The Browns, once again, are looking to get back on track. And under Kevin Stefanski, and we'll just have to wait and see. Every week they do something. We always say we'll wait and see, but it looks good on paper. But it never actually
also
really
did before
pans
last
out.
year.
Yeah. And other very minor news, the Cardinals signed CFL quarterback Chris Streffler to a futures contract. I brought him up last week because he had a big workout with the Miami Dolphins, who eventually offered him a contract as a Taysom Hill type player, if I recall. But the Cardinals said, we'll take you. I imagine he would get a little bit of playing time next year to try and develop him into something good. But congratulations to him because it's great. The CFL is kind of like the minor leagues of the NFL almost.
As much as it's still professional, it's still
even though you get paid boatloads of money in the CFL. All these guys, their end goal is to be in the NFL. Yeah. So it's like kind of an interim
reward,
stopover, if you will, of a league. And but yeah, congratulations to him. The Dolphins also signed wide receiver Ricardo Lewis to a 1-year deal. He was an interesting one only because he's still only 25, so he's very, very young. but he missed both the entire 2018 and entire 2019 seasons with neck and knee injuries. So that's just another Chris Greer low end scoop up just to see if you can get anything out of him. I imagine they put him on the practice squad at the very least and see what he can do in training camp. But so I think that was a decent signing, and that's about it. There was the one thing we have written down here where the dude ran into the parking meter.
Yeah, that was also like part of the. I don't even. Someone threw something.
Yeah,
and it was just
Mahomes chucked a football.
It was a football.
And
and
I think it was a football or a beer can or something. But yeah,
something worth getting.
Something worth getting. Yeah,
and
it reminded me of when the Eagles won it. You know, the guy running in the subway.
Yeah.
And then he just didn't see the pole, and the pole just knocked him over.
So this guy just
totally reminded me of that.
Ran into a parking meter.
Yeah, I guess. not to be outdone by a drunk guy in a car driving through the parade route, chased by a bunch of cops who ended up crashing into each other and then getting him out. And apparently he was like, oh, he was intoxicated. It's like, I just want to know how you actually find your way onto a parade route. Like, imagine,
or don't run over masses of people who would just have your back turned.
Yeah, but like I just want to know, because like routes are like fenced off.
Yeah,
and there's people there, so there's a start and an end. I get it, but if it's so ridiculously crowded, how do you actually find your way into that road, anyways? Unless he was like already, I don't know anything about it, but yeah. So, and Kelsey went off the rails. He was that was a Brett Hull-esque move. Mahomes was pretty up there too, I would think. All these little a-holes on Twitter that I'm seeing, like complaining about, like, oh, Kelsey and Mahomes setting a bad example for kids. It's like, shut up. You just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if any kids end up winning the Super Bowls later anyway, they're going to do the exact same stuff.
I don't care what they do, as long as they don't run over people in a car. Nobody should give a damn what they do, because it's
like illegal things were happening.
People getting mad at the parade, people getting mad at the halftime show. That was an even bigger joke. That was mostly a bunch of angry white Christians, to be quite honest with you. But
I'm scared.
Yes, you're scarred. The stupid one, I don't know if I sent you this, but the administrator, I think, found it and sent it to me. The one where the guy, somebody suing the NFL and J-Lo and Shakira because like it tainted his chances of getting into heaven. It's like, dude, shut up. That's forgetting religion. That's just a stupid thing to do. But that was a big joke. I found this fact, actually. During the halftime show, that was the highest period of ratings in the entire game.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it doesn't, because people who don't give a damn about
shit
football,
about football, they come and watch anyway.
They're like, oh, tell me when the halftime show starts. I want to see that, and then they turn it off right after.
Yeah.
But I just think that's hilarious, because the game itself is the biggest game of the year by far, and it still is like lower on the totem pole
than the biggest show of the year.
Than J-Lo and Shakira dancing on stage. Like, it was just, so whatever. But
it's like logical, but when you think of it, it's just absurd.
Yes, it is. And social media, as I said, is a garbage fire, and I won't get too much into that. But it was just a joke reading all that garbage, the parade, the halftime. Yeah. The game itself was just everyone blaming, the 49ers coaching and all that. Like Kyle Shanahan, it's like, okay, maybe, but you go out there and coach a Super Bowl, like, right? Like, everyone's stressed. Everyone's stressed, whether they admit it or not, and it's tough to do. So I just think it's one of those things in big games like that, unless it's something really, like a truly awful play, which I didn't see once.
Yeah,
you can't blame anyone for it. Yeah. You can blame maybe, missing a hole in the run game, if you hand the ball off, or overthrowing a pass. Which
but even then, like, all the people who are complaining, it's like, okay, you go do it.
Yes.
Right?
And I know it's kind of a cop-out of an excuse, but still, it's the truth, right? Like, no matter how badly Jimmy G does in any game, he's already succeeded 10 times more than anyone else.
The Super Bowl is already.
Yes, so that was good. But the game was good. The game was fun.
It was.
And now it's all over, and there's nothing to talk about for the next however many months.
However, NBA, however,
yes, you just stole my transition.
There were a mass amount of trades.
Yes,
and a mass amount of activities. Almost headlined by the fact that the Raptors have won 13 straight.
Yeah.
They win back-to-backs against the Pacers, home and home.
And then I saw that their upcoming schedule is like 2 games at home against really crappy teams. Like
they
the
play
Knicks
Brooklyn
and someone.
tonight.
The Brooklyn and the Knicks.
Yeah.
And then they like go on the road against, like, I don't know, I want to say Utah or something like that. So it's like this streak could actually continue for quite a bit more.
It's true. And I mean, inside in the streak, I think they've beaten like the Sixers and the Celtics too. So
Yeah.
even like going to Utah, it's not like, oh well, we're gonna lose.
Well,
like they can just
yes, and the big comeback win against the Pacers, that wasn't yesterday's game, and then they beat the Pacers again in yesterday's game. So they're on such a crazy roll right now, even with all the injuries. Siakam getting poked in the eye yesterday.
Yeah.
Lowry getting whiplash. We don't know what's happening with him.
Yeah, well, he also, I think he just passed Vince Carter last night too in Raptors scoring.
I saw that.
So congratulations to him.
Yes.
That's nice. Anyway, lots of trades.
Tons of shit.
Tons. So we'll just start running through some. So the first one, I think this might have been actually the first one, like the first big one of the bunch.
Arguably the biggest, I would say.
Yeah. Well, 4 teams involved: the Atlanta Hawks, Houston Rockets, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Denver Nuggets. So the Atlanta Hawks got Clint Capella from Houston along with Nene Hilario.
Is Capella the guy with that I always talk about?
Yes,
like
the little blonde patch.
I like that guy.
Yeah. The Rockets got Robert Covington from the Timberwolves, Jordan Bell, and a 2024 second rounder. The Timberwolves got a whole slew of guys from the Nuggets: Malik Beasley, Juan Hernangomez, Jared Vanderbilt, and Evan Turner, along with a first rounder. So they got a whole load of.
The Timberwolves are awful right now, but they had a really good trade deadline, I thought. As someone who doesn't claim to know a whole lot, build around Cat, like Karl Anthony Towns, and it's just great. Like, I thought every move they did for a reason, and everything they got will be
and
used
we'll get to more of
Yeah.
what they did later with some bigger names. But the Nuggets also got Gerald Green, Shabazz Napier, Keita Bates-Diop, Noah Vonleh, and a first rounder. So a whole slew of guys going to a whole load of different teams. I don't know if you saw this, but after the Rockets got rid of Capella, I think they don't have a player taller than 6'6" now.
Oh, somebody mentioned that on
It's either 6'5" or 6'6". I think it's 6'6".
I think it's 6'6" too.
It's just, I mean, you can
in the NBA.
like,
it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, like I mean,
a bunch of tall people.
It's been proven all the time that it's like you don't need tall people to win. But
yeah,
when you
Kyle
think,
Lowry.
yeah, well, when you think of basketball, you just think of giants. So they came out and they beat the Lakers in their first game. So what the hell, right?
Yeah, something's working.
The next trade was between the Nuggets and the Wizards, so another move for Denver.
Another move for Napier.
Yeah. The Nuggets got Jordan McRae, and the Wizards got Shabazz Napier from the Nuggets, who was just dealt to the Nuggets by Minnesota. So
I wonder how that would feel to be Napier, to get traded from Team A to Team B. Like, okay, I'm now on Team B, and then Team B just to flip you. Like, I think it was the same day or the day after.
Yeah. Well,
Team
he's
C.
been on a good run.
Yeah.
I think he had more triple doubles than Kawhi Leonard and Damian Lillard before each of them got there first.
Oh, I didn't know
this year. So that's something, I guess. This one caught me by surprise.
This was
Andre
a stupid
Drummond
trade.
going to the Cavaliers for Brandon Knight, John Henson, and a second rounder.
That was so
it's
dumb.
nothing.
No.
Like, Drummond has put up really solid numbers on not such a great team.
Yeah, but then you go to the Cavaliers and an even worse team, and you're gonna you would be paying him like around $30 million next year if you pick up his option. I don't get it. What's the goal? Are you gonna build around Andre Drummond? Okay, like $30 million.
You can't. Like, Kevin Love is already old.
Yes,
and your young guys aren't.
Brandon
here,
Knight,
but
John
they're not.
Henson, a second rounder, a draft pick that you would be using to get a young guy to build around.
Yeah,
I don't know much about Henson or Knight, but they're both relatively
sense.
young, I'd imagine too. So
yeah, it just seems like
whatever.
Not even close to
I have no empathy.
The Pistons
for
must be tanking.
Cleveland.
I get, like, they must just want a super high pick in I don't know, but good for the Cavaliers, I guess. I don't know what they're gonna do with Andre Drummond except maybe get an extra 2 wins this year. So we'll see.
Tough for Dwayne Casey, eh? To go to Detroit and now have everything
a decent
falling
team.
apart.
Blake Griffin's out for the year.
Drummond's
gone.
Drummond, injuries. Like, it's gone off the rails.
And they've had nice surprises too, like Derrick Rose coming in, and
but he's not.
He's putting up solid numbers.
Top player now, Derrick Rose.
Yeah,
you
can't do anything with it.
I feel bad for the guy because he had such a good run in Toronto, and now he's putting up with all this garbage in Detroit.
And he had a decent start in Detroit, and then it's just
everything right off a cliff.
Yeah. Clippers, Knicks, and Wizards made another trade. The Clippers received Marcus Morris and Isaiah Thomas. The Knicks received Maurice Harkless and a 2020 first rounder, and the Wizards received Jerome Robinson. So just another flip. Clippers looking for a little bit of extra depth
And the
to
Knicks
finish
get a
out the
draft
season.
pick.
Yeah,
That's all they wanted.
all makes sense. The Heat, Grizzlies, and Timberwolves made a trade. I know this one interests you. Our podcast favorite, Dion Waiters.
Oh yes, everybody's favorite offensive force. One of the Grizzlies. Justice Winslow.
Yeah, so the Heat get Andre Iguodala, Solomon Hill, Jay Crowder, and Gorgie Dieng. Iguodala is on a 2-year, $30 million contract, so I don't think...
Well, they just re-signed him to that.
Yeah, well, they signed him to that. He was the ex-Golden State Warriors Finals MVP.
He's also 36, so getting $15 million a year is kind of a joke. I mean, obviously, you're not going to turn that down if you're Iguodala, but if you were Miami, why the freaking hell are you offering a guy with that? Like, he's 36.
I don't think
imagine if somebody offered a deal like that in the MLB.
Yeah.
You know how much of a joke that would be? But I guess NBA is a whole different ball of wax. Still, $15 million a year for 36. Yeah,
and it's a $15 million for coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll help, but I don't think he'll be the reason Heat go to the finals.
Yeah, I don't think they'll win anything because of Andre Iguodala.
Yeah. The Grizzlies got Justice Winslow and Dion Waiters. Justice Winslow's put together some pretty solid numbers this year. He's been hurt a lot, but I think that's a really good move for the Grizzlies. I mean, we'll see what Dion Waiters can do, right? But
yeah, aside from get high on an airplane.
Yeah. Count on Dion Waiters for the edibles.
Yes.
Winslow for the basketball. And the Timberwolves got James Johnson, the former Raptor.
Yeah, that was the one move that I didn't understand. Why do you need James Johnson? He's older. You're not going to build around
nothing.
Him. I guess you didn't give up a whole lot, right? But
you're just getting a guy.
Yeah.
Just fill a spot, get through the year, see what happens. I like this trade for the Philadelphia 76ers. They made a trade with the Golden State Warriors. The Sixers got shooting guard Alec Burks and small forward Glenn Robinson III for 3 second-rounders. For a 76ers team who's just sort of scuffling right now, they're doing fine, but they're scuffling. I think Alec Burks has put together a pretty solid season, and Glenn Robinson coming off the bench, I think that'll really help in the playoffs, just whenever they can give rest to guys like Harris, Embiid, Simmons, anybody like that. Just subbing these guys in is not the worst thing at all. And for the Warriors, 3 second-rounders also isn't bad. So I really like this trade. I think it was good for both sides. And for a Warriors team that already has all their guys coming back next year, Clay, Curry, build around other guys.
Well, D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that soon, but they also adding
not
Wiggins.
D'Angelo Russell.
They traded D'Angelo Russell.
Yes, they got Wiggins.
Yeah.
Such a good team next year. It's nuts.
Yeah.
That's like good on them, I guess. I'm so sick and tired of them winning, but if you manage to win the whole thing pretty much or get very close and then drop to last in the league and then go right back up to arguably the favorites next year, it's good management. It's good decision making.
It is. Well, yeah. The Hawks and Sacramento Kings made a minor deal. The Hawks got Dwayne Dedmon, 30-year-old this season, averaging 5.1 points a game, 4.9 rebounds a game. He's on a 3-year, $4 million contract, not playing up to the hype at all. And they traded Jabari Parker and Alex Len to the Kings. So I guess the Hawks are banking on what they've seen before, but this season isn't showing much hope at all. Those are pretty awful numbers based on the salary. So we'll see there. This is probably one of the
last one and the biggest one.
Yeah, the most notable one. The Warriors got Andrew Wiggins, a 2021 first round pick and second round pick for D'Angelo Russell, Jacob Evans, Amari Spellman. I think this is a really good trade for Golden State and for Minnesota.
For both sides, yeah.
D'Angelo Russell just doesn't really fit in Golden State in years to come. I mean, like, Curry and Clay are the starting guards in Golden State. They've proven it over the years, and there's no reason why it'll change. And if you can get a forward and not have D'Angelo Russell coming off the bench, it's just a lot smarter. So it's a good move for them. They also get 2 more picks, so they now have they got 3 second rounders from Philadelphia, and they got a second rounder and a first rounder here. So not only are they good now, they have tons of picks lined up. And I've heard rumors that Cat and D'Angelo Russell are like good friends with Booker, and Booker doesn't really want to stay in Phoenix, so they might get like a trio going there in the offseason. I mean, it's the NBA. If a guy wants something, it usually happens, right?
Yeah, it's
Which
a
is
crybaby
stupid.
league.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
really. So
I have no sympathy, by the way. Andrew Wiggins, everyone's like pointing out that he's Canadian. I'd have no connection to him as opposed to other Canadians, just because Wiggins has always turned his back on Team Canada, like playing
Yeah.
for him or whatever.
yeah,
So obviously, he's done nothing wrong. I don't dislike him.
yeah. I
but
mean,
I just
it's,
have
it's a
nothing-
choice they have, right?
But he's done nothing to
Be
draw
like,
me in as a
pro-Canadian.
fan. Like all these, there's some Canadian guys like Olenek always used to do it. And Corey Joseph, right? He's up there. He goes to every Canadian thing pretty
And
much.
like Jamal Murray
Yeah, and there's guys
like
who
Shai
like it.
Gilgeous.
Yes, Gilgeous.
like young
I'm
guys
sure
like
RJ
that.
Barrett probably will. I'm
Yeah.
sure Chris Boucher, if he's needed, probably will. But Andrew Wiggins has never done that, and that's one thing I just think is kind of dumb.
Yeah, and it's also different because most guys wanna like represent their country, right?
Yeah.
That's like an honor for most people, but whatever. I mean, it's his decision
his
at the end of
choice.
the day, right? Just sort of building off of what we talked about last week in the All-Star game, LeBron and Giannis did their All-Star fantasy drafts. So no surprise, LeBron had the first pick. He took Anthony Davis, and it just sort of happened that the starters were drafted all in their respective conferences. So LeBron ends up with all the West starters. Giannis ends up with all the East starters. And then, no surprise again, Giannis took Middleton as the first reserve. So sticking with teammates. Team Giannis ended up with Lowry and Siakam.
This is a must-hamper situation.
Yeah.
You have Lowry, you have Siakam, you have Nick Nurse. I'm probably Bobby Webster would be there, I'd imagine. I don't think Jerry will because he's off on the other side of the world doing stuff with Justin
But
Trudeau.
Nick Nurse will be coaching
But
and on the bench.
This is text him, hey, you want to go out for dinner? Make some plans. Just get it going.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Nobody apparently understands what tampering is, and nothing ever really comes of it. So do it. You have to do it.
Bring Giannis in.
You got to do
You
it.
bring Giannis in, we have another
If you do
championship.
here's my thoughts. If you do not start doing this, talking to him now, I just think you're gonna be so far behind. Like no matter how
other
good the
teams
Raptors
are gonna
Yes.
slide in and do it, right? Yeah.
Yes, just text Giannis like, oh, there happens to be a big black briefcase in your hotel room that don't open it until a couple months from now, but there's hundreds of millions of dollars in there, right? So just remember, it's from Toronto. Just get him on the track, right? Get him
let him know
talking.
you're interested, right?
Yes.
That's a good feeling as a player, I would imagine, that a team wants you, especially the defending champs.
And it would be the first really big free agent signing Toronto could get in a very long time.
Yeah,
right?
well,
So
this is huge.
yeah.
I mean, arguably the best player in the league coming.
Yeah. So it would be. I'm just
crazy.
saying you got to do it now. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit what the rules are. Talk to him, convince him, do whatever. If he wants his own private one-man plane to go to Toronto and visit Tim Hortons, do it.
Yeah.
Get everything.
Charter
you
him
can.
out.
Yes. Charter
Pay
him
for his
out.
ticket.
Do the Kawhi thing.
Pay for his stay.
Every
whatever.
time, everything he wants, he gets. You wanna own a Tim Hortons? Give him a Tim Hortons. You wanna be an MPP in Canada? Let him be that. Like, just get him
Get him in.
everything he wants.
Yeah.
Appease his needs.
That's right. Well, it's an effective way of doing it. Apart from that, not much else happening in the NBA.
The Grizzlies signed Dylan Brooks. That was the other thing.
They
I'm
signed Dylan
clueless
Brooks.
about the NBA, but I do recognize that guy, and they signed him to a 3-year, $35 million deal. I imagine his numbers look good. He's 24.
Yeah, no,
and
he's doing well this
getting
year
a bunch of
on
points.
a Young's Grizzlies team.
Yeah, so the Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks, and Dion Waiters now can lead them out of the. Or did they trade Dion Waiters?
No, they got
Deion
Waiters.
There we go. Waiters, Winslow, and Brooks can lead them out of the dark ages and back into the light.
Yeah.
So.
Not much else going on around the NBA. Just the normal things.
Everyday goings on, if you will.
That's right. The whole Lillard thing last night, kind of a disaster. Before we got on here, I just watched the clip of it. It's a missed call. It happens all the time. It's basketball. The game's too fast for the refs. It's nothing new.
Yeah, but that was really
It's a
bad.
missed call. Really bad timing.
Fire them into the sun. Or
Cost
just
them the
fire them.
game.
Yeah. Never.
And
Don't let
Lillard's
him.
obviously pissed,
Yeah.
but
Taking
it happens.
his
It's not the
anger to
first time.
Twitter,
yeah. Well,
swearing and whatnot.
it's not the first time it happens, and it sure as hell won't be the last.
Twitter's the place to go for that sort of thing. Good entertainment for fans. But,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yes, that's about it for the NBA. Moving on to the NHL. The Leafs made a trade. Holy shit, they got a goalie that isn't named Hutchinson.
Michael Hutchinson.
So, the Leafs got Kyle Clifford and Jack Campbell, from the Kings in exchange for Trevor Moore, 2 third-round picks, one of which will likely be a second rounder just because of the conditions on it. So I imagine it would be a second and a third and more.
Too much of a tall order.
Yes.
Yeah.
So six wins for Jack Campbell.
Which he already has one.
Yes. You re-sign Clifford, or they make the playoffs. Like it's
one of those is bound to happen.
I'm amazed. Yeah, I'd be amazed if none of it happened. But yes, they finally got a backup goalie. He played his first game for the Leafs yesterday.
He
looked good. I thought.
Looked fine. Yeah.
None of those goals were.
I think like maybe
his fault.
one.
Oh, I wouldn't even argue.
Like I wouldn't really even argue it was his fault. I would just say even maybe like one was stoppable.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Delorier's first goal, that was a rocket.
That was a rocket. One of them,
Like,
he hit it out of midair, right? I forget. Who did
yeah,
that.
there's the Justin Hall kicking in his own net. Adam Henrique bats out of midair. Nothing he could do. There was that one where there was the whole fuck around behind the net. I'd say maybe that's, but you can't even blame him for that. He's new to the team. It's new systems and all that. I mean,
and you have defensemen that are supposed to play defense and not let that happen to a goalie. You're supposed to. I don't care if he's fucking around behind the net with the puck. That's your job. That's part of your job to get him out of that situation and to get the puck out of there.
Either take the puck or take the man.
Yes, and they did neither in that case.
Yeah, Muzzin goes for it, and then Campbell goes for it, and Muzzin just stands there, lets Campbell go for it. Campbell takes too long, gets stick lifted, and it's in the back of the net, right? So it's just neither of their faults.
The one other thing I would say from that game, which irritated me once again, is the no call or the non-call on Jake Muzzin elbowing Cachet in the side of the head.
There were a few missed calls. I don't know if you saw the high stick on Marner.
Yeah.
Like right behind the net, right in front of the ref. Like, how do you miss that?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's accidental. You high stick the guy. Yeah. And Muzzin too. Yeah, that was...
That I just felt was worse because Cachet never came back. And I know you're not going to... It wasn't suspendable. It wasn't finable, I don't think.
No, it was still interference. It was still an elbow.
You elbow a guy in the head.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, oh, well, Cachet was falling. Yeah, okay, he didn't do himself any favors by not tripping and falling into it. But that's still, when your elbow is, like, going, like, upwards, that's entirely reversible by Jake Muzzin.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's that's one of the things, like, Dallas Eakins came out afterwards, right, and said, that's one of the things that we're trying to get out of this game is going after, like, good young guys or just guys in general. And when you let that happen and then you don't call it, Jake Muzzin totally deserved a penalty on that.
Yeah, and that does the opposite of getting it out of the game. When you don't call it, guys are like, oh, I can go do that.
Yeah, I don't care if he's remorseful afterwards. There was no negative side effects at the time. Call it.
Yeah.
Call it. You elbow a guy in the head. That's a big no-no.
And well,
whack
it's
a guy in the
the
face
same
with
thing
a stick.
as Marner, right? Like, he had a significant gash under his eye. Like, I mean, obviously it's not gushing blood, but...
Yeah, he had a little mark on his face for the rest of the game. Like, it's just, you gotta call these things. And, like, it's just ridiculous. Like,
it's bad for the game. Like, bias aside, like, Leafs fan or not, it's just bad hockey to see.
Yeah, and Campbell should be getting a second start in 2 nights tonight whenever they play the Canadiens,
we'll
in
see.
Montreal. So, we'll see how that goes.
Another big game.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Florida also plays tonight. Florida and the Leafs dueling it out. I think they're in Pittsburgh tonight.
It's never fun when as a team you have to start scoreboard watching. Like, you just shouldn't.
Yeah, I know.
mean, obviously, if you're really good, you don't, right? Like, the Boston Bruins
Boston
don't
doesn't
give
care.
a damn.
Yeah.
The Avalanche, well, I guess the Avalanche kind of do give a damn, but like
Washington
doesn't
care.
care. Tampa, I don't think really cares either.
Yeah.
Like, it's just. it's whatever, but it's just kind of stupid. I think that you put yourself in the spot, like a terrible, terrible year, I would say, up to this point for the Leafs. And then you go off, Hutchinson sucks. Anderson's
Yeah.
injured. No one knows when he's coming back. Riley's out. Injuries all year long.
They've had injuries they've had it like a guy out all year, and
Yeah. So
it's a terrible year, but the season's not done. Like they still have to play and try and salvage a playoff spot. Like you can't just say, "Oh, well, this year's done and we've been shit." Like they can. There's a very plausible chance they make the playoffs, and whether they do well or not, like who really expects it? Anything past a game 7 in the first round at this point, anyway. But
I just want
they
them
have to make it.
Yeah, I just want them to make. I hate the Leafs, but I want them to make it, as I've said before, just strictly because it's so much more fun to watch them suck in the playoffs than it is to suck in the regular season. I don't.
Yeah.
You go there.
Well,
You make a
from
couple
your
people happy.
perspective, I
Yes,
can
from
see
my
it.
perspective. Anything. Oh my God, Anderson's injured. What a shame. Riley's out. What a pity. I need them to win a couple games to make the goddamn playoffs, because then there's no fun.
They
cheer against
they
Boston,
have
okay.
won, like they're 4-2 from the break. Like it hasn't been awful, and they're
No, but
slowly
it's
getting
not
back
been
on track.
great.
But it's not been good.
Yeah. So they
by
got
any stretch. I don't know. I think people are like over criticizing the situation both ways. People are saying like, oh, they're like for sure gonna get in, like don't worry, and then people are saying like, oh, they're way out. It's like, well, technically they're third in the Atlantic right now. I mean, obviously Florida has game in hand and stuff like that, but technically they're in a playoff spot right now.
Yes, you can feel good about yourself
So
for
it's
all
just
of like 20 hours before it all changes up again.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is it seems to be changing every single night. So they're in a dogfight. We'll see what they do there.
Another team that's fighting out for a playoff spot is the Chicago Blackhawks, and they claim Nick Seeler off waivers from Minnesota. He's 26 defenseman. He has 6 NHL games this season, 7 points in 71 games last season for the team. He's just another third pairing defenseman. I don't think he'll do too much, but you take a flyer on him, see what happens. The Blue Jackets signed 2 of their guys, Nathan Gerby to a 2-year, $1.5 million deal. It's a 2-way deal, so he can go up and down. He's 32. He has 8 points in 16 games this season, so that's obviously averaging out to be half a point a game, which isn't bad for a fourth-line winger.
Not bad.
The Blue Jackets also signed Dean Kukin to a 2-year, $3.3 million deal. He's much younger. He's 26, although he only has 5 points in 33 games this season. Both are very cheap deals. They're barely anything. They're barely notable, but they're
like
there.
just above entry level.
Yeah,
Really.
Gerby only by name because he, for the longest time, was on the Sabres, and he was decent there.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes, and he's always been
Yeah.
the tiny dude, right?
Yes, and Dean Kukin is just a relatively young guy who they want to lock up for 2 years. Also, a bunch of injury news. The Leafs. Here's another one we forgot to mention. Cody Cece's out indefinitely with an ankle injury. They called up Timothy Liljegren.
These fans are happy.
Well, I mean, yeah.
To an extent, right?
Yes, you're happy he's not playing, but yeah, you do.
Well, I'm more
he's
happy
still
just
better than
because
Martin
it's like
Marincin, right? Martin Marincin.
no, but the thing that I like about it is that's $4.5 million you can go work with for the trade deadline.
Well,
it's
yes, as a
you can
business
just keep
way,
him
yeah.
out anyway. I don't
Yeah.
care if he's healthy come playoff time anyway. Cody Cece hasn't
Okay,
shown
but then
any
who are you
reason
putting
why
in?
he should be in the lineup.
So if
you
you
can-
get if you trade for someone or you get someone, obviously they're going in to replace him. And I
Yeah,
think he knows that. But if you don't, then you're picking between
It's a
Cody Cece,
bad
Martin Marincin, or
situation.
Timothy Liljegren. Like Liljegren doesn't have enough time in the NHL.
he doesn't have experience.
Cece's just
Marincin's shit. and-
Marinchin's a little bit worse, or maybe a little bit worse than Cody Cece. Like it's perfect. It's a perfect example of not my problem. So the Coyotes defenseman Jason Demers and Red Wings Philip Zadina both placed on the IR with lower body injuries. Everyone loves the vagueness of that. The Flames Mark Giordano placed on the IR week to week with a hamstring injury. Okay, that's a little bit descriptive, I guess. The Blue Jackets also placed Alexander Wenberg on IR with an upper body injury. And their goalie Mers Likens just keeps on getting shutouts. 5 shutouts in 8 games.
Insane.
It's nuts.
And a lot of them, I think, like 2 of them have been like 1-0 wins.
Yeah.
It's just
Low scoring, and he's just pulling through. It's great.
Yeah.
I love the guy. Embody Elvis Mers Likens.
it's
Like, What you're telling me if Korpisalo comes back right now, what you're gonna bench Merzlikins for Korpisalo? Can you do that?
It'll just become the tandem as Merzlikins is the one, right?
Yes, it'll be the Islanders last year, right? It'll be Dallas of this year. It'll be you just have two guys bouncing back and forth between each other until one guy really starts playing better. And right now it's Merzlikins. And
it's also like good to know that if Merzlikins hits a wall, you have Korpisalo because he was all-star caliber goalie until
he was going to the All-Star game. Hell, you got who's their third stringer? Matis Kivlenieks, right?
Yeah.
Like, he did well too in his very little time in the NHL. So you have no really bad options yet.
Which is a good issue.
Obviously, Merzlikins isn't going to keep this up forever, but you
ride
it out.
Human. I mean, like even
Korpisalo comes back, and then you see what you're going to do. And
last night, Leafs beat the Ducks 5-4 in overtime. I don't know if we mentioned that off the hop.
Yeah.
Leafs blew a 3-1 lead in the third. Hall kicked it in his own net in the last minute to tie it at 4. Right? And Tavares won it in overtime with 6 seconds left. On another amazing pass by Marner. That's all he seems to do. So, thank God.
It was goddamn Joe Bowen, who I hate with a deep passion.
Oh,
right
the radio guy.
Greg Millen. And Kevin Bieksa too, I can put him in there. On his call of the goal was like bloody. I'm like, oh, it was such a spectacular goal. Oh, buddy, he had a stick there and he tipped it in. It didn't even go in right away. It hit off Ryan Miller's pad.
Marner did
more
than
Marner had a
Tavares.
good pass, I guess.
Well,
Whoever scored it
Marner
did
looked
nothing.
really good all night. Like Marner's passing always looks.
There's another
good.
reason I hate the Leafs because they have idiots on the freaking broadcast. I can't listen to it. Joe Bowen makes me want to puke. Greg Millen's just stupid. The other guy I
Kevin
actually don't mind.
Bieksa.
Bieksa's terrible.
The
main
other
guy
guy
on TV,
sitting with
I don't
Bieksa,
mind with.
isn't bad.
But like the main TV guy, I don't mind. But everyone else is just a
I also don't mind
fire.
like Craig Simpson and Jim Houston.
Jim Houston, I don't mind.
Yeah,
Craig
they're
Simpson
fine.
is, he's not even great either. And I mean, who am I to say? Because I don't do things, and I'm 17 and doing a shitty podcast.
Well,
But
you can do better than Kevin Bieksa.
I like to think I can be less annoying and a little bit more realistic than Joe Bowen, who all the time rambles on about the puck could be going from end to end, and he'd be rambling on about how he knows Ryan Miller's cousin from Detroit. Like, nobody gives a crap. And Greg Millen's just straight up dumb. Every game, he does it. Every game, he's just so stupid. He's just like yesterday.
We need Gordon Ray.
Yesterday it was I don't like them either, but like yesterday it was complain about Clifford not being tough enough, and then Clifford does something tough, and he's like, oh, now he's being too tough because he took a penalty. It's like, pick one, stick with it, or shut up. Like you can't make your cake and eat it too in that case. You can't say both things. And other than that, he's just dumb. Like, he's so ridiculously dumb. Like, it's just unbearable. But that's just me going back to why I don't like the Leafs. But I don't even know how we got off topic on that. But
I don't know either.
Well, the
Leafs' next 3 games come in Montreal tonight, at home versus Arizona on Tuesday, and at home versus Dallas on Thursday.
Which we will be attending.
And
hopefully that's something. I mean, right. Dallas on a 2-game losing streak. The Leafs have been mediocre at best. I kind of hope that Dallas keeps losing, because then I figure they'll have to win one, and hopefully that one will be in Toronto. And I kind of hope Freddie Anderson's back, because in the nicest way possible, if Campbell lets in 4 against Anaheim, I really don't think he has much of a shot against Dallas, and Hutchinson's a joke. So I really kind of hope Anderson's back. It'll be more satisfying if Dallas beats Freddie. Then they'll be like, oh, they actually beat a good goaltender. And hell, that might bump him out of another playoff spot. So it should be a good game.
I don't really want to blow out one way or another. I want a tight game, like an edge of the seat kind of game.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like a 6-5 game.
Yeah, that's
Obviously,
what I mean.
Dallas. If it was 6-5, yeah. But not.
It's just like I don't want to see like some 7-1 like either way. I mean, obviously,
I wouldn't mind seeing 7-1.
Yeah, well, I guess, but from an entertainment standpoint, I mean, Leafs tickets are fucking expensive, and you want the best of your money. I want a Leafs like 4-2 win or something.
I want bang for your buck.
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
10 goals. and I want them all for the green guys. But we'll see. We'll see. Should be a good game. The Leafs, as we've said, have to get back on track real quickly. Or really quick, I should say, to keep this playoff thing in their sights, which will be tough. And that's about it for the NHL. I have no good transition. I was trying to think of one on the spot to transition from hockey to baseball, and I just really couldn't think of one. So off to the MLB we go. And the big news, well, 2 pieces of news, as we bring in our administrator, Timothy Graham, online here. The big news hasn't actually been officially announced yet, but we're going to talk about it, assuming as it is.
Yeah.
Which is the big 3-team trade between the Twins, Dodgers, and the Red Sox.
But the Red Sox lost.
Yes, the Red Sox have lost so far, unless something else happens. So as of this time of recording, as it stands, the trade so far has been the Dodgers get Mookie Betts, arguably the second best player in the league, David Price, the usable lefty pitcher with a shitty contract, and $50 million to help offset that shitty contract. The Red Sox get a top prospect, Alex Verdugo, and starting pitcher Brusdar Graterol from the Twins, and the Twins get Kenta Maeda. And that's, as I've said, what it currently is. The way it's going, it might actually change.
Yeah.
And the Twins might also add just another prospect, or they might do it without the Twins, and then the Dodgers add Tony Gonsolin going to the Red Sox. So there's a lot of moving parts, but as it stands, those 3 teams have made a trade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big news, obviously. And I think
huge news.
I think.
It seems like it was more of a business deal for the Red Sox than it was a baseball deal.
When has it become that you own a Boston sports team and you can't spend money?
Yeah.
Right?
Since when would a Boston sports team be worried about re-signing their best player? I don't know. It's stupid.
It's a ridiculous trade, I think.
New front office, right?
Yeah. New front office.
They get to deal with losing their team favorite.
I mean, to be fair, the guys that are in there now obviously they weren't the ones who signed, all these guys. They didn't sign David Price. They didn't sign Chris Sale. They didn't sign these guys. So they have to deal with it. But
you're telling me that you couldn't find another team that would be willing to take David Price and pay a little bit without giving up Betts? Like that. That's
or even
stupid.
just move Betts for more than Alex Verdugo.
Yeah.
I'm sure Verdugo is gonna be good.
And
But for Betts,
not as good as
1
Betts.
year of Betts. I don't care. This whole rental baloney that everyone keeps saying, he's the second best player in the league. So shut up with the rental stuff.
Well, technically, by definition, he is a rental, but nothing's stopping the Dodgers from just re-signing him.
Or any team.
They
right?
might.
Yes.
Which would then make him not a rental.
And you're going from one team with a stupid amount of money to another team with an even more stupid amount of money in the LA.
Yeah.
So it's just
Did you hear that the Red Sox basically lowered Betts' trade value by not allowing Dodgers to talk extensions during the entire trade?
I didn't know that. I didn't know they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise
Which
me.
is stupid because as soon as they get him, they're going to talk extensions.
Obviously you officially get them. And the other thing that's spring training, as we'll talk about later on, starts on the 13th, right? Which is coming up real quick. Pitchers and catchers reports. And then, guys start doing their workouts and they'll head down there. If this trade is not officially completed by then, are you telling me that the Red Sox are actually going to have to get Betts and Price down in their training camp? You know how awkward that would be?
Yeah.
They wouldn't
even go.
Well, why would they go? They're not property of the Red Sox,
I know,
right?
but I'm saying they are. They technically are. If this trade doesn't finalize by that Thursday, they technically are. And then what happens if you don't report? Do you just sit out? Does that screw things up? Do you fine them for that? Do you just let them not show up? Do you try and make a trade in haste in order to speed things up? Do you finally just accept Graterol from the Twins? There's so many things.
Well, you gotta believe that within the next week that they'll be able to figure out medical records.
Well, but it's not even that, right?
Right?
The Red Sox have been bugging Minnesota saying, give us more, and the Twins have promptly been saying, no, you get Graterol or you get nothing. And they're the best position to be in this part of this trade are Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because you give up Graterol and you get Maeda. Yeah, Maeda is obviously... I think Graterol is probably going to end up being better, but right now you want Maeda because he's been good for the Dodgers.
And they're trying to go on a run,
But they're in the prime spot. They can fuck over both Boston and LA by simply saying, no, Graterol or nothing, right?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be sad if they keep Graterol and the whole thing falls apart and they get Maeda. And the rumors are that, they're looking at entering a third team in place of Minnesota if Minnesota opts out.
It's going to take forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you're being the toxic environment of dealing with it during spring training when everyone knows you're getting traded. like you screw over the Angels too. That's indirectly, actually, the Twins can screw over the Angels. Like that's what a prime spot they're in right now.
Yeah, well, they have an extreme amount of leverage, even though
Yes.
they're just getting Kenta Maeda.
Yes, you're giving up one guy and you're getting one guy, and it ain't Price and it ain't Betts, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just nuts the position that they're in, and I mean, it's just amazing to have this happen. Because when was the last time a super rich, super big market, like Boston or New York, had to deal a player or two and money to open up space to sign somebody else? It just doesn't happen.
It's just really bad for the Red Sox, really.
It's bad for the MLB.
Yeah.
It's the whole
Yeah.
thing is just a mess.
And the Players Association is also getting involved. Like,
Yeah, and they're saying
there's a limit to how long they can keep waiting for this shit to go down.
yes, and it was like it's another the exposing of medical records. It really reminds me of however many years ago, when the Kemp deal with the San Diego Padres.
Yep.
And the whole
Yep.
AJ Preller thing, and everyone was blaming everyone else for exposing medical information to lower the price.
Yeah.
It's like, it's probably should be illegal, I think,
To do what?
to expose,
Oh, yeah.
to leak
for
medical
sure.
records, right?
Well, I mean, you should be
Everyone
able to
does
see
it.
them, but not.
I don't think so. I'm 100% against that. You let the teams know. Everyone in the public.
No,
doesn't
that's
need
what
to
I
know.
mean. Let the teams see it. And
Yeah,
not no one else.
people like us don't need to know.
Yeah.
We can afterwards if Kemp says, "Oh, by the way, I broke my pinky toe tripping down the stairs." That's nice. But the team that you're being traded to, or being dealt from in this case, they should be the guys who know. And this whole leaking of, it's politicking in sports. Like, it's ridiculous. And what are you gonna do? You're not gonna find them. I don't think they even find the Padres or whoever was in that situation. Nothing came out of it. But the fact that it's happening is the problem. It shouldn't be happening in the first place. Once again, indirectly, the Minnesota goddamn Twins are causing this to happen, right? Because it's their guy. It's Gratterall, who they say, no, he's fine. He's pitched a lot. He throws 100. No soreness. No injury history. Sure, why wouldn't you want him? The Red Sox are saying, oh, but this one joint in his... Shut up. Shut up. You were getting vertigo. You were getting the top 100 prospect, 86th, I believe, in Gratterall. I just don't... Okay, yes, if he tore his UCL twice at the minors, sure, bitch about it. You take it or don't.
Well, I don't. I don't know. There's red flags all over with him, in my opinion. Like you get Tommy John. You're a starter who throws over 100. You've had back spasms. He's had Tommy John.
Gratterall?
Yeah, in 2018, I think.
Yes, recently though he hasn't. He pitched all of what was last year, 19.
He had back problems last year too.
But that's totally unrelated to what the Red Sox are saying. They're saying it was an arm thing.
Well, Tommy John, yeah, in 2018.
Years ago, yes. Who he came back from. If
2018 isn't really years ago. I mean,
well, it is years ago. If Gratterall had it last year, it is. If Gratterall had it last year,
it's 2 years ago.
Fine. Yes, years ago. He came back. If Gratterall came back and said, actually, I threw 14 innings. I'm feeling like crap, and I'm topping out at 92.
He did.
Unrelated.
He came back and he had back problems.
Unrelated to Tommy John.
But it's another injury. It's just an
that's
accumulation of red flags.
That's not the one the Red Sox are saying. The Red Sox are saying
Tommy
it's
John's
an arm
more
thing.
serious.
Yes, but if they're complaining about the arm thing specifically, or leaking it in this case, then you have to totally reject the back thing.
Then totally reject the back thing.
Yes. So you're complaining about a guy who throws 100, had a season with no arm issues last year, pitched in terms of his arm, healthy last year, threw a bunch of innings. I believe he came up from Minnesota for a couple times and looked half decent there.
Yeah.
And he spent most of the season in the minors. Like, if you're complaining about that, then you shouldn't be in this position to begin with.
No, I agree. I'm not saying that they should take this on. If they're saying, okay, arm issues, whatever, which I can see, then just end it. Just take the Twins out of it. Like, there's no point in, I agree, carrying it on, but there's also red flags with Gratterall. From a Red Sox standpoint. I mean, like, name another starter since Nolan Ryan that's lasted as a starter throwing over 100.
I have no idea. I'm sure there have
nobody.
been. I would bet money. No, you can't say nobody.
Well, no,
I don't
nobody
have a
notably.
computer in front of me. I bet there probably has been for a decent amount of
That's
time.
throwing consistently over 100 as a starter.
Probably not. No. But
so that lowers his
Scherzer
value.
has thrown like 98 his entire career.
Well, that 98 and like 102 and 103
Stars-
is like
but
5
Drew
minutes,
Star-
5 hours, like 5 miles an hour
not
difference.
throwing
Oh,
102 every pitch, every fastball he throws. The Red Sox, in fact, actually said they're looking at him to be a reliever, anyways. Just have a guy.
Yeah,
with a
well,
pen
that's
chucks
that
100.
that's
So
what
that's
I would
another
presume.
thing. If you use him as a reliever, the Twins have been using him as a starter, I think, for the
Yeah.
most part, except for his spells in the majors where he just comes out of the bullpen because they don't obviously need him to start.
Yeah. Well, he should be projected as a reliever, probably.
In the Red Sox view, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously the Twins were thinking of him as a starter, but take him or don't take him and quit whining is my
Yeah,
point.
no, that I agree.
Use
I'm
him.
just
I like the Twins. They'd be probably just as happy with Gratterall, right? Like, oh, you
Yeah.
don't get Maeda, and you screw over two large franchises, the Angels, just for the hell of it, and you keep a top 100 prospect.
Yeah, well,
Like, they're feeling
whole
great
Angels
about
thing
themselves, I'm sure. Unless they
Yeah.
really like Maeda instead of Gratterall. Like, but there's just nothing.
I mean,
I've
if you
seen
can
nothing
keep
like that.
Gratterall and screw over 3 teams, they'd probably want to do that.
Yeah, and if nothing else, the Red Sox, I guarantee you, the amount of backlash they've gotten after pulling this trade off.
Yeah.
And,
Maybe that's
you
why
get
they.
Vertigo and
Yeah.
Gratterall. Like, oh, that's it? That's it? You get nothing else?
Maybe that's why they're pulling the whole bitch fit
Well,
thing.
that's
about
what that's what I'm
Gratterall.
saying is
You could be
they've
doing that as
received
well.
so much backlash
Yes.
that they're like, oh, we actually did fuck up.
Yes, right? Like, all it has to be is like, oh, Gratterall is, has an ingrown toenail, and that's their excuse to say, nah, we don't like it, we're pulling the plug. When in reality, it could be that, oh, yes, everyone else, all the other
Yeah,
functioning
oh,
members
my
of
uncle.
society realizes that it was a stupid
The Red
trade.
Sox GM's uncle called him the night before and like, you're an idiot.
Yes, he
And he's like,
threatened,
oh
like-
shit, you're right.
Yes, he's threatening to withhold resources from him unless you retract this trade.
Yeah.
But as of now, obviously, assuming this happens,
Yep.
assuming the Red Sox quit complaining, Gratterall's going there, Vertigo's going there, Betts and Price are going there along with $50 million, and Maeda's going to the Twins.
Yeah, well, the way I saw it when I first looked at it, it's like, okay, well, if the Red Sox probably could have traded Price and paid for a decent amount of his contract and gotten just Verdugo.
Yeah.
So if you look at it comparatively, then they just traded Betts for Gratterall.
Yeah. You can
Like,
think of
one
it like
for
that,
one.
it's, and then you're like, oh, if you thought that was a good idea at any moment in time, you deserve Gratterall if he has 15 Tommy John surgeries. Like, if you thought you were
Yeah.
being smart, like cutesy and coy about that, like, okay, you don't deserve to complain. You don't get to complain.
And no one has sympathy for Red Sox fans.
Oh,
Nobody in the
no, yeah.
entire
No
league.
one likes the big market fans ever.
I guarantee you, if you were a Miami Marlins fan and you were watching, it's like, yes,
Yeah,
because it's
like-
like, oh, you want to complain about getting a top 100 prospect? Try playing in Tampa Bay. in
Yeah,
front of
try
10
trying to bring a
people.
free agent in.
Yes,
It's like, shit.
yes,
Rays fans must be having their jollies right now.
yes. Everyone is having so much fun. Like, it's except for those teams involved. And the other, we've spent so much time on this
Yeah.
to start. We
Well,
haven't
we can
even
just-
gotten
we
to
can
the Dodgers
swing through
Angels
everything else
trade,
quickly.
which is, well,
Well, not this, but like all the sort of
the
minor stuff.
Dodgers, apparently, we're getting Andy Pages and Luis Rengifo from the Angels in exchange for Ross Stripling and Jock Peterson.
Jock Peterson, who recently lost his arbitration for an extra 1.75 mil, I think.
Yeah. So, but that trade is for whatever reason being held up for the other trade because of money, like financial stuff going
Yeah.
on. So,
So to sum everything up, everyone's getting fucked over.
by Minnesota.
Yeah, and Red Sox lose the
Or
trade
really
if it
by
goes
Boston.
through.
Yeah.
But could be by Minnesota too.
Including Boston themselves, who fucked
Yeah.
themselves over.
Yes.
And they're throwing the
everyone's-
bitch fit because they're losing.
yeah. Yeah.
Essentially.
Everyone's getting mad at each other, and really, it's Boston's fault. But moving on from that, hopefully by next week at this time it'll actually happen, and
Who
then we can
knows?
talk
Yeah,
about it
something
more.
will be resolved.
Maybe a player strikes and,
Yes,
coming.
maybe Betts just abstains and he's like, you know what? I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and Chris Bryant, he's probably going to lead the strike too.
Yes. Everyone will just storm the Boston compound. All the
Yeah,
Boston
the spring
guys
training
will.
compound.
Yes, yes.
And Chuck Manfred out
Bryant will storm the Players Association, and Betts will storm Boston. Like, it's just ridiculous. But anyways, hopefully that happens. Moving on. Finally, the Mariners signed Marco Gonzalez to a 4-year, $30 million deal plus a 2025 club option.
too. Yep, he was their ace last year.
He was
basically.
easily their ace. Yeah, he was traded to Seattle in 2017 from the Cardinals. He's still only 27, so he's relatively young. He's in his career in Seattle, gone 29-22 with 292 strikeouts for 3.99 ERA and 63 starts.
Yep.
Obviously, they like him enough to lead their rotation, I would say,
And
because
he likes
it's
it
a
enough
garbage team.
there.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting paid a good amount of money from a guy who spent a lot of his career in the minors up until 2017, and even in 2017, some of his time he was down there.
Above average. So
Yeah, he started like last season like 6-0 or something.
Yeah, he had a great start, and I mean, obviously it's Seattle, so you can't sustain that.
Yeah.
But you got to try, and he's going to be there. And it's also a very movable deal if they find, right?
Like a deadline.
Yes,
yeah.
a deadline. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in the last 2 years, you can, if he's still doing well, you can just ship him off for whoever. If you don't compete by then. The Dodgers signed Max Muncy to a 3-year, $26 million deal. Muncy, the guy who a couple years ago came out of nowhere and started hitting home runs at the Yin Yang.
Yeah.
That's also a really weird contract because I believe he's only getting paid $1 million this year, and then he gets paid
Oh, geez.
like 10.
So it's really backloaded.
It's really backloaded, yeah, because of the financial restrictions, i.e. David Price.
Yeah, and this only signs him to like free agencies.
Yeah, it
the
gets him
next
through
3 years are
Yeah, and I mean, he's done very well. Last year, he hit 251 with 35 dongs and 98 RBIs in 141 games.
Yeah.
So he's obviously very well. He's going to be their starting first baseman, I would
I'm told
imagine.
Bumgarner fuck off.
Yes, told Bumgarner to go away.
Go fish it out of the ocean.
Yes, I thought that was a really cheap and good deal. The Giants, I love this one because I love Wilmer Flores. They signed him to a 2-year, $6 million deal. He had a great year last year, batted .317 with 9 homers and 37 RBI in 89 games for the Diamondbacks. So this is a 2-year deal. Originally, it was reported that he was getting a minor league deal, which was way off topic, or way off course. But, so he gets a 2-year deal. He had very, very good numbers last year in a small amount of time with Arizona. But Arizona obviously didn't need him because they had Christian Walker there, who did just as well, if not better than him, in more games. So they're going to use him there, and they said, Flores, you can walk. And
Plus Walker, I think, is younger.
Walker's younger, too,
Yeah.
yes. So the Giants got, I think it was a great deal. He's another movable piece. $3 million a year.
Yeah, if he's hitting 317 at the deadline, you'll get
you
way
will
more
move
than
him.
$3 million a year value for that.
Yes, you will move him. The Giants also signed Hunter Pence to a 1-year deal.
Yep.
He's now 36, but last year he was an all-star, 1 comeback player of the year, batted .297 with 18 home runs and 59 RBIs.
For the Rangers, right?
Yeah,
with the
just
Rangers
a
before he got
reunion,
injured.
reunion sort of thing.
Yeah, so those are two. I'm assuming his deal won't be overly expensive either, although the financial terms have not come out yet. But those are two really cheap, really good deals I find with the Giants. And, I mean, obviously I don't think they expect to contend, but you have to, just like Miami, you're getting guys to fill out the roster who are decent looking and can, put up decent numbers. So I think that'll be good for them. Running through a bunch of stupid minor league ones, which I hate. The Diamondbacks signed Edwin Jackson for
Why?
no apparent reason.
Yeah.
None. There's no reason.
Is this a new team, or has he already been on? Oh no, I think he's already been on Arizona.
He threw the
He
no-hitter
threw
in
the
Arizona.
no-hitter there. He
Yeah.
had his best
Yeah,
time in Arizona.
Damn.
That's signed
Can't add
John
another
Jay
team.
and Trace Thompson to minor league deals. Both speedy outfielders. John Jay, I imagine, he's been in Arizona before, I believe, so he'll get a look. And Thompson's just depth. Brother of Klay Thompson on the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
The Giants also signed Brandon Guyer and Billy Hamilton to minor league deals. Guyer bounced around in the minors. Before that was with the Rays and did decently there.
They'll probably
Billy
make the
Hamilton can only run and do
Field.
literally nothing
Yeah,
else.
maybe
I
he
have
can-
more faith in my hitting ability in the majors than I do with Billy Hamilton.
Maybe he'll cut down on the triples, like go to
Yes.
triples alley or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'll just lob up fly balls that no one will catch because it's so damn far and just sprint around. But again, they might use him as a pinch runner. Nothing else. He might actually be another trade piece just for a team like even Oakland.
Like
if
play
they're
the
doing well.
Dalton Pompey role of the Jays
Yeah.
in whatever year.
Strictly
16.
for running the bases.
Yeah.
We don't want
Yeah.
you to do anything else. The Yankees signed a slew of guys: David Hale, Dan Otero, Tyler Lyons, Kellen Deglin, Rosel Herrera, and Winston Sawyer. All of those guys got invitations to spring training. The Rays signed recently, he was recently a free agent after being let go by the White Sox, Dylan Covey, Johnny Davis, and John Curtis to minor league deals. Covey will be up. He was up with the White Sox last year. The Rays, I have complete faith they'll be able to turn him into something because they
Like
always
even
do
like a
that with
reliever
minor league
piece or
pitchers.
something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Or even, a Yarbrough guy, a guy that can fill innings. The Athletics signed Donnie Hart to a minor league deal. He's a lefty. He'll be up. He was with the Mets and with the Orioles before that, I believe. He'll be up and down. I have no faith he'll actually stick with them, but he's a usable piece. The Cubs signed Caleb Simpson, Ben Taylor, and Danny Holtzen to minor league deals. Holtzen, again, is the guy I really like. I thought the Jays should have gone after him because he was a career minor leaguer, came up, did well last year, and now he's back with the Cubs in the minors. The Marlins signed Sean Rodriguez and immediately released every Gatorade bottle. I don't even know what you want to call it. Gatorade thing.
Oh, that guy, the Pirates guy,
Yeah,
right?
he beat the crap out of the Gatorade.
Yeah.
I mean, the word escapes me. What's it called?
Like a cooler.
Yeah,
jug.
Gatorade cooler.
Cooler.
Yes. I mean, if he got mad and what was he in Philly when that happened?
Pirates.
If he gets mad with the Pirates, he'll get even worse with the goddamn Marlins, right? Every time, somebody makes a stupid error, he'll just smash another one of those.
Yeah.
But he'll definitely be up. The Blue Jays, holy smokes, signed 2 minor leaguers. Jake Petrichka is back with the team, and Brian Moran, who was recently released by Miami, so that's not a good sign. Brian Moran, the only interesting note for him was that when he was with Miami, he's a lefty sidewinder, but he struck out his brother Colin Moran in Pittsburgh. So that was the only really interesting moment in his career, and Jake Petrichka has actually done decently. In his major league career, he has like a 3.99 ERA, so I would expect him to get a shot.
Oh, yeah.
And he was with the Jays, 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
And then he was with the Brewers, I believe, for a little bit, but he'll get a shot in spring training. The Indians signed Cameron Rupp to a minor league deal. He's just catching depth. The Braves signed Yonder Alonso, whose career really fell off after hitting those home runs. The last 3 years have been all in minor league deals. The Indians,
White Sox, I think.
White Sox. Well, I think he was actually a major league,
Oh.
because he was traded there. But the Rockies, it's just, and now the Braves. So it's just depth. Hits a bunch of home runs. Can't do anything else. Very similar to the Rangers, who signed Greg Bird to a minor league
The
deal.
career disabled guy.
Yes, and Cody Allen, who was the ex-Angels all-star closer, both of which are just looking to bounce back. The interesting one about Greg Bird is, in 186 games, which is just over one season, pretty much, he's at 32 home runs and 98 RBIs. So his career numbers aren't actually terrible power-wise. Now, he only hits .211, and he strikes out way too goddamn much. But it's just another cheapo signing for the Rangers, and they can turn him into something maybe, right?
His thing is he needs to fix his ankle.
Yeah,
or whatever.
He's perpetually injured.
Yeah, needs
misses so many
cryogenic
games.
therapy all the
Yes.
time or something.
And but he'll get a shot at the minors. The Red Sox signed Ryder Jones. Thank God they did
Cool
that
name.
after training Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
He was a long-time top prospect. The Giants didn't pan out there, and they didn't really need him. The Rockies signed Ubaldo Jimenez, Tim Melville, and Tim Collins to minor league
They
deals.
brought back Jimenez.
Yeah.
Jimenez, who has not pitched at any level for 2 years, is now in the minors with the Rockies.
That's the one who blew the
blew
fucking
the
wild
Edwin.
card.
Edwin,
Yeah.
He chucked one right down the middle, and Edwin smacked it.
Way to go, Buck
Britton sitting in the
Showalter.
dugout.
Yeah.
Or
Zach
not
Britton
in the dugout, in
is
the
still
bullpen.
fuming about that. The other two I like, Tim Melville, he was up last year. Actually did quite well in his few starts with the Rockies. Consistently like a 6-5 inning guy, ate a ton of innings at the end of the season for an injured Rocky staff. And then Tim Collins, who's just a lefty, he'll be up. He can eat innings too. The Rockies don't exactly have a fantastic bullpen by any stretch.
They never have good pitching.
No, they don't. The Phillies signed Anthony Swarzak and Blake Parker. Swarzak will be up. Parker probably won't because he's not very good. The Pirates signed a guy named Solomon McGuire out of Australia. And I'm looking through, right? I'm making these notes. I'm thinking, who the hell really cares? But I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. He was an undrafted free agent. And look him up. He's 16. He's younger than any of us. And he's on an official minor league contract with the Pirates.
He's 2
with
years
an
younger than me.
invitation to minor league spring training. What the hell? What the hell?
Oh, you gotta respect it, man.
I
mean, Pirates are desperate, right?
Yes, I'm sure. Now, I'm just saying, there are also some decent minor league free agents who you can probably pay just as little, who've pitched in the majors before, and who are older and more experienced.
Hey, you never know.
I.e. Matt Dermody.
Hey,
But whatever.
maybe Solomon McGuire will be the next, Mariano Rivera.
Yes, nothing
you
against
never
him.
know,
Hey,
right?
he's young, and it's kind of weird. But hey, I wish him all the best. Hopefully
Maybe,
he does well in Pittsburgh.
Maybe you guys will have Pirate scouts at your own baseball games there.
Yes, exactly. Next year we can have, Ben Sherrington show up and watch Benny over here pitch a game, and you'll get a minor league deal. Wouldn't that be fun? You probably wouldn't even accept it because the Pirates are so goddamn awful. But, it's...
Take the checks.
Yes, it's, get paid. A couple waiver claims. The Phillies got Dale Mascara off waivers from Milwaukee after being DFA'd last week. The Cardinals claim Ricardo Sanchez off waivers from Seattle, who was the guy last week I mentioned. He's a lefty, and I don't know anything about him. The Mariners claimed Jose Siri off waivers from Cincinnati. He's an outfielder, and the Reds have way too many people in the outfield, so they told him to pack your bags. The Marlins DFA'd pitchers Yarlin Garcia and Jose Quijada. Garcia was actually a decent prospect for them, but he didn't pan out, and, if it doesn't work in Miami, it really doesn't work anywhere. The Brewers DFA'd J.D. Hammer,
Dope
who's
name.
just a pitcher. His name, those car ads, Ford ads? At first I'm like, does that guy have the exact same name as those awards, fake awards that they win? So I thought it was him, but it turned out to be JD Power. Those stupid, they give out awards for everything. It's just the dumbest thing ever. I could win a JD Power award right now. It's the stupidest
every
thing.
pickup truck is an award-winning pickup truck.
It's the number one in the world. It's number one in Canada.
Number one horsepower efficiency.
They're all driving in the woods, or that stupid one in an SUV when they're driving up the snowy mountain.
Yeah.
It's that's illegal. You cannot do that. That's not allowed, and it just looks retarded. But anyways, the Cardinals DFA'd utility man Ramon Urias because they picked up Ricardo Sanchez. So big deal there. The Reds also DFA'd Matt Festa and Sal Romano. Both, I think, will go to the minors. They've actually liked Romano for a little while now. I would imagine he'd get another shot. A couple retirements to announce. Mike Dunn, longtime lefty reliever. After 11 years, he's calling it quits. He finished his career with 4 ERA in 555 games. Bounced around from team to team. Recently was with the Rockies. Didn't do overly well there, but before that, he was a pretty good reliever and not many good bullpens. He ended his career 34-26, 436 innings pitched, struck out 473 guys. So he had a decent career. I think he was actually only 34 though, so he's actually relatively young.
Yeah.
In terms of guys retiring, unlike Kendrys Morales, who also announced his retirement.
Blue Jays legend.
Blue Jays legend. His career, he had a really what-if career, right? Because in 2009. He was one of the top guys in the MVP voting.
And he snapped his ankle
Snapped
celebrating.
his ankle after
in
hitting
the
a
walk-off thing. Yeah,
the Angels came back and he
Sucked.
hit home runs, but he was never as good as he was that year.
My God, is he slow?
He's so freaking slow. He's played in 1,300 games in his career, which is a decent amount, I guess. But recently his career just went right down. Didn't work with the Jays, didn't work with the A's, didn't work with the Yankees.
He has a record in the Blue Jays for the most home runs in a row, though. 7 days straight or something.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
Yeah.
He had that one really good year with the Royals.
Yes, he was great with the Royals. He was also played for the Twins and the Mariners, and then obviously the Angels going back in time. But yeah, good career for him, I guess. He irritated me because he struck out way too much, and he never ran out a ground ball. He was also very fat. But yeah, if he tried, he would probably tumble and fall just because he's never doing it.
Should have been Edwin, not him.
Should have been Edwin. Yep. We re-signed him for no apparent reason. Or we signed him, Morales. Yeah. We let Edwin walk, and then Edwin continues to put up monster numbers late in his career.
Yeah, everyone keeps doubting him, and he still puts up 30, 100 seasons.
Yeah, for 3 years straight, everyone's like, oh, he's just going to tail off because he's old. And then he puts up 35 home runs, and 80 RBIs, and hits 240. It's ridiculous. Stop telling the guy he sucks when he obviously doesn't. But yeah, it was disappointing when we signed Morales. The Rockies hired Peter Borges as an advanced scout this week. Last week I mentioned he officially retired. He was a long-time utility outfielder type, and he's played 14 years of pro ball. So now he'll go work with the Rockies. Hopefully he does well there. Other news: the Yankees announced James Paxton underwent microscopic lumbar discectomy for a removal of a cyst in his back, and he will be out 3 to 4 months. Doesn't that sound like a fun surgery?
That sounds like a Yankees thing because they keep dying and
yes. Once again,
a start of nothing new.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once again, I point out that again it happens so close to the regular season. To be fair, in that case, I actually read the articles this time, and it said, "Oh, it happened at the end of last year. He got stuff, just rub on it, and he was actually doing decently, but recently he couldn't take it anymore, so he got it." But still, it's a tough blow for the Yankees.
that's why they kept J-Happ,
Jordan Montgomery, Domingo Acevedo. These guys can fill in.
And behind Cole and Severino will be back. So.
Yes, and Herman, after he's done his suspension, will fill in. So again, no sympathy there, but it's too bad because James Paxton, he threw a no-hitter against the Blue Jays when he was with Seattle. Canadian boy.
I was there.
Big Maple.
Yes, you got to suffer through that.
2 of them.
But yeah, so he'll be back by the All-Star game or All-Star break roughly. The Red Sox officially hired their bench coach, Ron Renicky, as manager for this upcoming season. Very disappointing. Once again, John Gibbons had an interview. Did not get the job.
Yeah.
I would love to see him in Boston. I mean, I'm sure he probably...
They already stole John Farrell from us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't need to lose another John
that
to them.
joke of a John... Because we traded John Farrell. Do you remember that?
Yeah, with
we
Brian Butterfield and...
Brian
Was it
Butterfield,
Lavello as well?
Luvello, Butterfield, Farrell in exchange for Micah Vilas.
Yeah.
And... God, like money or something. That's the stupidest trade to ever occur. It has to be. To trade three coaches for Micah Vilas, who had that just as dumb a batting stance as Kevin Youkilis, and he did nothing with the Jays. Like, it was the stupidest goddamn thing. But, yeah, so he'll be the manager for the Red Sox. The Astros also announced they hired James Click as their new GM. He served as the VP of Baseball Operations for the Tampa Bay Rays. In many recent years, he was a Yale grad. He's a very smart guy. Once again, the Rays are just getting stripped of everybody they find as managerial content. Many years past, but he'll go to the Astros and hopefully dig the Astros out of a ditch that they're still digging themselves into right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the AJ Hinch interview.
Yes, especially with AJ Hinch. The Blue Jays. I'm only gonna read this just because it happens to be Toronto. They announced a whole slew of guys being invited to, spring training that aren't on, the 40-man or the 25-man. So I was just going to read through these, and some of them are very minor league guys. Some of them, like Joe Panic, actually have a decent shot. So I just wanted to read through name by name. I'll do it very quick, just to hear if you guys think they'll actually make the team or not. Because I think some of these guys are so ridiculously awful, they have no chance. They shouldn't even be at spring training. But so,
I haven't even heard of some of these guys.
yeah, the minor league ones, I'll just read. But, the other ones I'll go through with you guys. They invited Brian Baker, Travis Bergen, lefty, did not work
Buffalo.
with San Francisco last year.
Yeah.
And the Rule 5 pick. Kirby Sneed, Nate Pearson, their number 1 overall prospect. Of course, Ty Tice, Riley Adams, slugging catcher Alejandro Kirk, Nash Knight, utility infielder Kevin Smith, Logan Warmoth, both high draft picks in recent years, middle infielder types. Josh Palacios, an outfielder, Forrest Wall, who we got in the Sung Hwan Oh deal, who I like. Those were all the minor league guys that, lifelong minor leaguers thus far, going to the minors. But just to run through a few, so just tell me very quickly whether you think going to make the team or not. And then we'll wrap this garbage up. Brian Moran.
Nope.
I don't know enough of these guys.
Okay, Jake Petrichka.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
Quit asking me.
We're
I'm
taking bets here.
Well, take AJ Cole, who I completely forgot they actually signed.
Yes.
That was a big off-season Cole signing for the Jays.
Yes. All the memes about, Toronto got Cole? Shut up. Justin Miller.
Nope.
Yeah, I hope not. Felipe Amont.
The
Canadian boy.
Oh, the
Yes.
Quebecois boy.
Who we saw pitch in a game at Christie Pitts.
We can hope.
I hope so. Ryan Dull.
Fuck no.
Okay.
Maybe.
I really hope not, because he walks so many people. Ryan Dull does.
We don't really have that many lefty options. Though.
Well, Ryan Dull's not a lefty.
I thought he was a lefty.
No.
Who am I thinking of?
Brian
Dermody?
Moran?
No.
Oh yeah, Matt Dermody. I wish, don't
Matt
we?
Dermody. Oh no, I'm thinking of someone else. His name will come later. Some other A's dude, old A's dude.
Ryan Buchter?
Yeah.
Ryan Buchter. I
Yeah.
think he's still under contract with the A's. Caleb Joseph.
No.
I think he kind of has to. Right?
Really?
As the third string guy. They ran with 3 for a long time last year. If they like 3, you have nobody
They'll
else.
run with 2 and then bring him up if they need to. Probably.
I know, but they before September last year, they ran with 3. They ran with McGuire, Jansen, like even in August and July, they ran with.
Are we saying like he'll make the 40-man or he'll make the team?
He'll make the team.
Well, if they go with 3, he's on it. If
Yeah.
they don't, he's not.
Patrick Cantwell.
Doubt it.
I know you have no idea who that is.
No clue.
Minor league catcher. Joe Panic.
Yes.
Probably.
I hope so.
Yeah,
He'll
probably.
He'll be a backup infielder.
I imagine he would be so irritated if they try and send him to the minors. Like he's just one of those.
He might
guys.
just retire.
Yeah, he might. Well, he's like 28. Like he's a long way to go, and not that far off from having that great All-Star season in San Francisco. Andy Burns, my boy. No, he won't. I don't.
yeah,
He's just
I
another
doubt it.
utility infielder type. Ruben Tejada,
He has the
old
track record.
Mets guy.
but I doubt it.
He was such a stupid signing. Nothing against the guy, but when they signed him, I'm like, why are you wasting
Like
a
after
spot?
the panic signing.
Yeah, after panic, it's like you need another middle infielder. You have guys already on there. And then you have
Groshans.
We've already drafted billions of shortstops.
Yeah, I know. You don't need another goddamn shortstop. Like in 4 years, must have drafted like 10 shortstops or something ridiculous.
Now
Like,
we're out of
decent-
pitchers, right?
Yes. Who needs a lefty? Who needs Matthew Liberatore?
Yeah, and
or
I mean,
Matt
all the
Dermody when you
shortstops
can
are
have
decent too.
shitty
Because
shortstops.
they were all our first round picks.
Yes. Oh, that 26th round shortstop in 2018 is really going to help the team in these years to come. Go to hell. And Patrick Kivlahan.
That guy hits nukes.
Guy hits bombs. Have you ever seen the highlights of this guy?
Nope.
In the minor leagues?
I think we actually saw him hit a
It's
nuke
shots.
live, like
Yeah, in
halfway up the
Buffalo?
batter's eye in Buffalo.
Yes.
Jesus.
Rips shot. One of the worst fielders I have ever seen.
Oh,
play the
he
infield.
can't play first at all.
He can't play anything at all. But he hits nukes. Like, it's nuts.
He has DH written all over him.
Yeah, I know. Now, if only we had a spot, right? What are we doing with Rowdy Tellez? Is he he's on the team, but what, is he playing first?
Yes.
Didn't we sign? No,
Well,
he's not.
he'll be playing
He'll be-
first or
yeah,
he'll
he'll
be
first
DH.
or
Travis Shaw's
DH.
playing first, right?
They'll be like mixing together.
Oh, I completely forgot about Travis Shaw too. There's another guy that I just really. Okay, I don't know why you signed him.
Travis Shaw could be like, he's only a year removed from
Yeah, he has
driving in like 90 plus.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said
He could come back. I mean, this shouldn't be too hard to come back from what he did last year. To
I wonder
at
what
least
we-
bump it up a little
Yeah, I
bit.
wonder what we could get in trade for Rowdy Tellez.
They said they changed his swing last year, and that's why he sucked ass. And
Yeah.
so he's gonna try and go back to.
Yeah, hopefully
2
we
years
just
ago.
don't tell him what to do this year, and he'll do well. The last thing I wanted to mention, I saw it this morning, was news came out. I don't know if it was from the Athletic or some place like that, where apparently, when the Jays, in recent history, they were involved in Francisco Lindor apparently for no real reason, considering of Bichette and Biggio and Vladdy. Like, what the hell? But apparently, they had offered Cleveland first-round pick from 2019, Alek Manoah, and first-round pick from 2018, Jordan Groshans, in exchange for Frankie Lindor.
That's so stupid.
That's the stupidest thing.
That's horrendously dumb.
You're trading a shortstop who's a top prospect for another shortstop who you can't use because you have a young shortstop.
Well, I think they were
on the
talking
team.
about that because Bichette then went out and said, yeah, if we bring in a guy like Lindor, I'm completely open to a position change. And then
Where?
Biggio goes, yeah, I agree. So that would mean, what, booting Biggio to the outfield,
yeah.
Bichette to second? Like, just what a waste of
But
development.
then you
But, like,
Then you lose
boot somebody
Lindor,
in
what
the
happens
outfield.
with Bichette?
Yes.
And then they're not like contending with Lindor
It's
either.
the most ridiculous. Like, you bump Biggio then to the outfield. It's
And
like,
the outfield would be
who
what?
you bumped from the outfield?
Teoscar Hernandez,
Teoscar?
I guess.
Okay, then you
McKinney?
bump him to DH. Then you bump Rowdy out of like it's just a chain effect of bull
Well,
crap.
I don't.
Like, that's
yeah,
nuts.
I mean,
Right?
Tellez and like Hernandez.
But they're both young though. You both gotta
Yeah.
let him play on a bad team, and you're looking like not a terrible team, but not a great team. You're not the Rays yet.
Well, if you
like-
sign like Lindor, like, or not signed, but got Lindor, like I don't support it. But if they did it, you would have no choice but to do that,
Yeah. Like
which is
what?
stupid.
You know
There's
what?
like
They
no
could've-
point.
You should have. You know what? Years ago, remember when the Marlins were trading Yelich and the
Yeah.
Blue Jays offered Alfred and Bichette? You should have done that, and then you just
Yeah.
could have planned for drafting Jordan Groshans and Alek Manoah,
Yeah.
and then you could have traded them for Lindor. Then you'd have Lindor, Yelich,
And Vlad
Biggio, Vladdy, Grichuk still under
and
contract.
Gurriel,
Gurriel. That's the
and
other
you could still
outfielder.
sign Ryu.
You could sign Ryu with money, because you have enough of it. You have Pearson still because he was before that. You could still have traded Stroman for K.
And
like
if-
it was.
And Merriweather. Let's
And-
not
would-
forget
and
Merriweather.
If
They
only
would-
we had Jack Flaherty. If only that was an option
Yeah.
that fell out of the sky. But
And it would be such a Ross Atkins approach to just go on the media and say, well, it doesn't really matter. It was just Francisco Liriano anyway. Like, as opposed to, referring it to Teoscar Hernandez. He's
Yeah.
just what we got for Liriano, so who cares?
oh yes, it was just another lefty pitcher who we don't have any of. If you haven't noticed, we have none. We have none.
They should turn Tellez into a reliever.
Fuck it. Trade for Anthony Gose. Honest to God.
Get Ryan Goins back to be a reliever.
Goins. Throw Ryan Goins. Hire Darwin Barney out of retirement and get him in the bullpen.
I think I was actually at the game where they both pitched.
Yes.
The
yeah.
Canada Day fucking...
Yeah. 19-inning game or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Show.
Against the Indians where
Yes.
Edwin got tossed and Martin got tossed.
Yeah,
and-
and
I
Gibbons
remember
got
that
tossed
game.
and then Carlos Santana hits a nuke.
Yes, I remember that game vividly because it was like the third inning. I went to go see a movie in the beaches, and it was like a 2.5-hour movie.
You came home and the
I
game
came
was
home,
still
well,
on.
no, because I was on the streetcar going along Girard, and I'm like, I looked because I saw a TV playing like a bar, and I'm like, is that the Jays game still? And I look, and it's like 4:30 or something, and the game started at 1. And I'm like, oh, that just has to be a replay. And I get home, and I'm like, oh, it's in the 18th inning already. Nice.
Yeah.
Like the stupidest. Those were the good days.
I
Though.
ripped through snacks that day.
Oh yes, they got rid of those red jerseys. I like those red jerseys.
I did not.
Well, it's just something.
Didn't they still wear them last
No.
year?
Well,
Well, it wasn't like
I
a
don't know if
normal
more than
thing.
last year.
It wasn't just
This
a
year, I know
Canada
they
Day
canned
and
them.
Canada Baseball Day.
I
Was
think
the
so.
red jerseys
yeah.
things? They weren't. It wasn't like a rotational.
But it wasn't like
no,
every
they,
Sunday
no,
home
yes,
game
it was.
which they did.
wore them on home Sundays or home Saturday games.
Really?
Not
Yeah.
last year.
Whatever the main year was.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Oh.
But now they've completely shit canned them, and
Oh,
they're like, oh,
yeah.
new blue jerseys, which I still can't wrap my head around the name. Like it's not.
New blue. How
It's
creative.
not really a new color. It's just a new jersey. So whatever. Did
Yeah,
you
it's
try to
just-
sell those for like $350 with no name?
Where?
It's
Like,
the
Like
it's
at the J
stupid
store?
fanatics.
Yeah. The day they released them, they're like, "Yep, we're just gonna charge." You wonder why people are not not interested in baseball. Nobody wants to pay $350
Yeah, and there's,
bucks for a jersey of a player who strikes out or hits home runs and then watch a 4-hour game.
There's
like-
no name on the back,
Yeah,
and it's $360.
I got this beautiful, luxurious jersey for I think it
There it
ended up
is.
being like 120
There
or
it is.
something.
The jersey reference.
Yeah, well, I've already referenced Matt by name. Like I have to go with the jersey too, but like it's.
Because fanatics have a monopoly on all sports
Yes.
apparel, so they can
The
do
other
what they
stupid
want.
thing where it's you experienced this, right? Like we heard about it. They wouldn't put Guerrero on any official merchandise until he was officially called up.
Yeah.
Why
like,
not? Why can't you get hype before?
Because if somebody goes like ahead of time before it's officially released and buys a bunch of official Blue Jays jerseys, puts 27 and Guerrero Jr. on the back, and then they can start selling them and make like thousands of bucks just before the Jays officially do. So it's all
Like
business
as if
thing.
that when Vladdy gets called up, the Jays aren't making enough money
Yeah.
off of jersey sales anyway.
I wasn't rejected when they asked when Germany's name was put
Well,
on the
how much
back,
money
so.
do you think it costs to make a jersey? 20 bucks tops.
Some of the nice ones probably with stitching are probably maybe like 40 or 50, I would say. At the
Well,
high
either
end.
way, you make it for 40, you sell it for 210 or whatever. You
300.
do that a couple thousand
do-
times
yeah.
a season. I think you're getting enough money.
Yeah, but yeah.
And not to mention the like $7 hot dogs and
Yes, the $7
$8
hot
pizza
dogs,
slice.
$8 pizzas, $4 ice creams, and $12 beers. Like it's just ridiculous.
That's why no one's going to the games.
Yes.
That's why everyone's watching from home.
I was looking at opening day tickets just because I want to go again this year, and they were like, a couple weeks ago they were like $17, and I'm like, oh, nobody really cares, and now they're at 45.
At the
Canadian.
500 level or
yeah,
what?
it's, probably,
Yeah,
it's
500 level,
honest to
45
God, it's
bucks.
probably they're gonna be wearing their baby blue jerseys.
They are, yeah, they announced
Hyunjin
that.
Ryu's gonna be
Yes,
pitching.
yeah,
Let's
exactly.
jack the prices up
Yes. Oh, but it's a Thursday afternoon game at 3:30.
against the betsless Red Sox.
Yeah, so again, well, supposedly the bets.
Yeah.
Oh, but they got Ryder Jones. Nah, fuck off.
Well, they got Verdugo.
Supposedly too, and Gratterall. But yeah, so spring training is right around the corner. This time next week when we record, spring training will have officially started.
Yeah, I think the first game's like the 21st.
21st. Once again, I'm holding out hope that somebody has the stones to pick up, a good, solid lefty reliever, Matt Dermody. But
Well.
I won't hold my breath at this point.
Yeah.
Hey, if he goes to like the Can-Am League or something, I would travel to Quebec to watch that guy pitch. But it's thinking too far. Well, I would.
I think he remembers you
Yeah,
as the only guy in the stands with a
there's
Germany
probably
jersey.
his parents. Yes. Well,
Actually, I'm a witness. I've
Yes.
seen proof.
when
I've
we were
seen
in
proof.
Buffalo, Germany's walking to
He
the
waved
bullpen.
to him.
Well, no, because there was another reliever that pointed me out to him. Because he's like, hey, that's the only Germany jersey I've ever seen. It's like, I'm guarantee you, it's like one of like maybe 10 in the history. And
Yeah,
the
and
other
the other
9
ones
are
are
owned
all
by
his
his
family members.
Yeah, I guarantee you. It's like, hey, if it's like, yeah, good. It must be fun to watch, right? Like, imagine being like, middling, reliever in the minors, and like you're not a top guy, nobody really cares. And it's like, hey, that one stupid kid over there from
a
Toronto for
careers
no apparent
project.
reason. Yes, yes, that's great. It all started in careers. It all started in careers. Thanks, Miss Wong, for that. Now I'm
Showed up Miss Wong for fucking logging me out of my school account.
Yeah, 100% on that assignment. I don't brag, but anyways. So the next week, hopefully, more guys have signed. Although now that football's done, NBA's the trade deadline's done. The NHL one is coming up, but that's later on in the month.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Blue Jays do honestly something stupid so we can talk about it, not have another boring one. Or maybe
Or
we'll
do something good.
Or we can bring back round 2 of like trivia. Wouldn't that be something? Get the administrator over here to make the questions.
Trivia?
Well, no, just he comes up with the questions and just asks us.
Or that.
Because he would smoke us, I think, both of us. I mean, both of you would smoke me, obviously, but like.
Well,
I mean, it's a
smoke you,
1-point
I beat
game.
you by 1 question or whatever.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there were a couple embarrassingly bad ones. I'm getting off topic. Anyways, so yeah, it was a pretty exciting week. We'll talk to you next week.